Hi, I'm Chris Jefferson-Jones. I'm here today with Joe Horton to discuss health and reverse therapy. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Chris.
Can you tell me the life you were able to lead before you became ill? What sort of life you had?
Before I became ill, I was a judo fighter, Olympic standard. I reached the semi-finals of the Olympic Games in Barcelona in '92. Although I worked part-time, I trained for the rest of the time, and that was pretty much my life from an early age.
Yeah, and then you became ill. And what happened?
I became very ill. It started off with flu-like symptoms and gradually progressed worse and worse. Very achy, no energy, totally lethargic all day. Doing the smallest things would hurt. Even someone just pushing you as a joke would just feel like you've just been battered. It was just, your whole body was just so sensitive to noise, to light, everything, and you just felt like you were in a bubble. And this just went on and on and on. For about on and off for about 11 years. I was diagnosed with ME, post-viral fatigue syndrome, post-training fatigue syndrome, glandular fever. So I went to see everything from an ME specialist in Harley Street, which replaced all my amalgam fillings, which didn't work, to 2 lots of homeopathy, to herbalist, to acupuncture, to even a spiritualist healer, and just nothing. I felt good going on holiday and odd times, but then I would just hit really low again, and just purely by chance came across reverse therapy on the internet.
So then you entered reverse therapy. What?
Then the first thing I did, I looked at it and was on the computer and just reading it for about 3 hours, just crying my eyes out, thinking, this is it, this is me, this is what I've been going through. You know, after going back on antidepressants and sleeping tablets and painkillers all day, and I just thought, this is it, this is me. So I managed to get hold of the book and read it cover to cover. Made an appointment there and then. Phoned him up straight away while I was still reading on his website. Managed to get the book and read it cover to cover a few times. Made an appointment, and yeah, it just totally changed my life. I got a life back.
What was your first session like?
Not what I expected. It was very. I don't really do. The whole idea of therapy was a bit like, ooh. But I'd read the book and I went in, and as everything, I thought, right, positive attitude. You're going to do this. You're going to jump in 100% and do it, because that was it. I had nothing else to lose. I'd get rid of my bad health, and that would be the biggest miracle. But I just thought, I've got to do it. I've got to just jump in 100%, and hopefully it will work. And John was brilliant. Really made you feel very relaxed, because he could obviously see how nervous I was, and just spoke me few things, familiarities, and then got to grips with it really. And I thought, okay, originally I thought, oh, 8 sessions, I surely need 8, and then 3 sessions. He using the tools, so it gives you an insight into what you can do to make yourself better. It taps into something that nobody else can do, no matter how many GPs or alternative health. It just taps into something and gives you this confidence and knowledge that you can do it. You can use what you've got. You don't have to take tablets, you don't have to take pills, you don't have to change your diet. You can still eat what you want, drink what you like, have a life, and you're not going to suffer. So that was just amazing. So I did that after the second session, and I had this most amazing feeling. Just from the session I'd had with him, I thought, right, I know what I've got to do. I've got to speak to this person after 10, 15 years and only not speaking, falling out with them a couple of years ago and taking so much. I thought, right, got to confront this. And it was on my mind all the time. And I thought, shall I wait? No. Made the phone call and then put the phone down. Went really well. And then I just went out to the park and just threw up. And I've never ever thrown up sober in my life. But it was just this overwhelming, ever since I had my appointment with John that morning, I'd had to go to work, but my stomach, I just felt like something was there that had to come out. And then when it did, I was just so sick. And then I got really it was only like 7:30 in the evening, I got very sort of shivery and shaky and went to bed. Slept until 8 o'clock next morning and just basically got up and just felt this whole weight had been lifted off me and just felt like I was walking on air, and it was just the most amazing feeling. And I still had other people to confront, but that to me was almost like a blocked pipe, and it was just then being unblocked, and all this crap inside of me just came out through a conversation and just putting down or saying what meant to me, how much I was feeling. So yeah, that was definitely a turning point. Listening to my body is the key to everything. I think you don't listen to what your head's saying. Learn to listen to your body and get the feeling. I mean, we've all had to make a phone call we didn't want to make, or speak to someone we're not particularly keen on, and you get that instant feeling of, your throat's dry, you get butterflies, or your stomach. It's not your head telling you that, it's your body giving you these signs. Whether they're good or bad, what John did was give you the tools to recognise if that's a good feeling or a bad feeling. And if it is a bad feeling, learning to deal with it. And obviously we all do things we don't like, so we have to do them, but there's certain things that we don't have to do. But yeah, those tools, just nothing. It's just basically listening to those feelings you get, your gut feelings, your gut instinct. Listening to that and reacting and thinking yes, and then not waiting and thinking, oh yeah, but maybe, and then because your head mind will take over, you start thinking. And before, I'd convinced myself out of it, and it's like, no, go with your gut, go with your gut reaction. And that's mainly it. And it is quite hard. I kept reading the book, and still referring to certain passages and sort of prompt notes he would give you, and I found that really useful, just referring to certain passages that I'd highlighted in the book that I felt helped me more.
So what is your health like now? What sort of life are you able to lead
I
now?
have a life. That's the big thing. I have a life. See, it's like before, I was lucky if I could go out like Friday night or Saturday night, maybe to the cinema and a couple of drinks. That'd be it. But now I can sort of go out in the week, have a life. Exercising again, which is fantastic. Recently gone back to doing judo the past few months, just once a week. Running a couple of times a week, swimming a couple of times a week. But in general, day to day, feeling really good. Not having to wake up thinking, oh, how am I going to get through today? I've got to take some painkillers. But just day to day, you feel normal. I always thought that's all I want, just day to day to feel normal. Just couldn't be better. And it's even better now than before because I have a much better outlook on life.
So you still apply things that you've learned from reverse therapy to your life currently?
Absolutely.
Jo, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Chris.